Now let's move to our next topic, which is final keyword. The question is, what is final keyword? Then what is the purpose of final keyword? What is the advantage of final keyword? Why we need to use it? And the third is, what are the different entities in Java where we can apply final keyword? So let's begin with its introduction. What is final keyword? Final keyword is a keyword which is used on various entities in Java. It is mainly used to make the things constant. Means once you apply final keyword on any entity in Java, that entity will become constant. Means you cannot further modify that. Okay. Now the question is, what are the different entities where you can apply final keyword? You can use final keyword at class level data members or class level variables or methods local variable as well. Second place where you can use final keyword is you can make method as well final. And third is you can also make class as final. Now let's understand what will be the behavior of final keyword while applying with different entities. If you are making class level data member as final, that will become constant, means you cannot further assign a new value to it. Okay, it will be fixed with its initial value. The same thing is applicable for functions local variable as well. If you are making a function local variable as final, that means it will initialize once only and then after you cannot further modify it. Okay. Secondly, if you are applying final keyword on methods, then those methods will not be override anymore. Means in child class, if you want to override them, you can't override them. You can't modify their behavior in child class basically. Okay. Thirdly, if you are making the class as final, that means that class cannot be inherit anymore. Means you are preventing your class to further inherit using final keyword. Now, when it comes to the implementation of final keyword, I suggest you should try the final keyword implementation by your own. What you all need to do is you have to first make the class final and then try to inherit that. And if you are not able to inherit it, that means you well tested this concept that for a class, if it is final, you cannot inherit. Similarly, you can make the method of the class as final and then try to override it in child class. You will again get error and it will say that you can't override that. And similarly, you can try to assign some value to class level final data member and then try to modify it. If you try to modify it, you will not get succeed. You will get again error that you can't override it because it is final. So in that way, you can do the implementation of final keyword with respect to all these three entities of Java. Now let's try to understand another very interesting concept related to final keyword. What we are doing here, we have a person class which is holding a static final variable name named cname, and there is a display data method which is just printing cname value, and then main method will try to assign some value to this static final variable. Okay, always remember guys, whenever you will declare any final variable, whether it is static instance or a local variable, you will always makes all the characters of variable name must be capital. That is a kind of naming convention for final variables. Okay, now what we are doing here is we are making this variable as final and we are not initializing it. That type of variables which we do not initialize at the time of declaration and we are making them final, those type of variables are known as blank final variables or blank final data members. So this is a blank final static data member. Now, which means that whenever I want to initialize something, that value will be initialized later on and then that will become final. That will not further change anymore. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. I have static cname and I will try to change this using from my main method directly by assigning the value. But if you see, I'm getting here one error. It is saying you have to remove final keyword here. Why I'm getting the error? Why this is not allowing me to assign the value to cname. However, I didn't define any value there at the time of declaration, but still it is not allowing me to assign any value there. The reason behind this is static block. Guys, if you remember, I told you that static block is a block which is going to be execute automatically when class will be loaded in the memory, and static block is mainly used to initialize static data members dynamically. So when you are not assigning any value to these static data members, those will be initialized with default value either by null or zero. And if those variables are of static type, then those will be initialized by using default static block. So if you are not defining any static block, there will be a default static block always there in your Java class, and that will check whether you are initializing some value to static data member or not. If you're not initializing, then it is going to assign a default value either null or zero to it. Okay, so that's what happening here when I'm trying to run main method and I'm trying to assign some value to it, because it's static string type of variable and that is blank, that is automatically initialized by default static block with null value. And when I'm trying to reinitialize a new value, it is not allowing me to assign a value here, and that's why I'm getting error. So if you are declaring a blank final static data member, then you must have to initialize it using static block, something like that. And then if you will try to run this, this will work absolutely fine. Similarly, I have another concept of blank final instance data member. You can see I have a person class here which is holding instance data member named name, and there is a display data method which is just displaying the name value. And then in main method, I'm just creating the object of person class, and then I'm trying to assign a new value to this name variable and then trying to display the data of it. But you can see I'm getting error here. Now why I'm getting error here? The same reason which happened with the static data members. Similar to there, here also this name is getting initialized by constructor. As you guys know, whenever object gets create, very first method which get execute on object, that is constructor. So constructor is basically initializing this name variable with null value. And when I'm trying to assign another value to it, because it is of final type, it is not allowing me to assign another value here. Okay, that's why I'm getting error. So how can we fix this problem? We can simply fix it by initializing this instance data member using constructor. You can see now I am initializing this name by its constructor, and then let me run this. You can see I am getting output here. So we are pretty much done with the final keyword. If you want to do implementation on final keyword, you can check the reference of final keyword implementation here in oops 6 folder. And here I have defined one single class which is implementing static blank final data member and blank final instance data member as well. Both implementation combinedly done in the same class.